What's up, motherfuckers? It's your boy, Slim Jim! No, I'm just kidding. It's fucking EnigmaHood. But I'm watching a video made by my boy, Slim Jim. Now, you might remember Slim Jim from my video about, dumb black guy doesn't know why he's a Christian. Well, that dumb black guy is actually Slim Jim, but, I actually like Slim Jim. Slim Jim is actually not a bad guy. He's just deluded. He's a Christian. He's a conservative, but he's a black guy, and none of that shit makes any sense. But that's irrelevant. Let's put all that aside. Even put aside the fact that I like Slim Jim, and I do. I like Slim Jim. He's a good guy. But Slim Jim, or I should say your boy Slim Jim, was assaulted by some potheads. And he has the security footage to prove it. And he posted this up on his YouTube. And, it clearly reveals, you're watching the video right now, and you see these potheads, and they're actually sitting on his front doorstep, which is pretty fucked up. How would you feel if someone was sitting on your front doorstep, smoking pot, and acting all junky and, acting like they own the place and, this is your fucking place. Here comes Slim Jim. Here comes your boy Slim Jim. And then he's telling them, what the fuck are you guys doing here? This is my place. Get the fuck out of here, motherfuckers. I'm sure he said, get the fuck out of here, niggas. What the fuck you doing here? Fuck, this is your boy Slim Jim. Get the... then he flicks his hand up like that, like, get the fuck out of here, motherfuckers. And then he's telling them how it is, and he's explaining to them, look, this is my fucking place. Get the fuck out of here. And then, the bitch is arguing with him, telling her that she owns the place and she can do whatever the fuck she wants. And she's pointing at the fucking doorstep being like, I own this place, motherfucker. I got to smoke my blunts wherever the fuck I want, motherfucker. And Slim Jim is just like, get the fuck out of here. Now, here's the thing. He's following them out. Now, these motherfuckers, these potheads, they actually assault Slim Jim. And so, therefore, he is totally in the right. That's his house. That's his apartment, whatever the fuck it is. I have no idea. I can't even tell from the video. And then she smacks the cell phone camera out of his hands. So, yes, Slim Jim is... She tries to kick the phone away, and she ends up kicking her slipper off of her fucking foot. And here's Slim Jim videotaping them. Look, he is totally a victim here. They're smoking pot on his doorstep, and, they have no right to that. They have no right to assault him, to try grab the phone off it. Like, you can see the bitch trying to take his phone from Slim Jim. He has every right to record them. Okay, this is public property. It may even be his property. I don't know. I can't really tell. But in any case, he has every right to videotape them, record them, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And she tries to take the camera out of his hand. She tries to smack it down. That's assault. Okay, that is assault, plain and simple. My contention is, should he have instigate? I shouldn't even use the word instigate. Perpetuate the situation, because they're leaving. As soon as he comes up on them, they leave. They walk off and they leave. Now, maybe they were mouthing off to your boy Slim Jim, but, the fact of the matter is they were leaving. And, he's following them out and then he's recording them. You gotta wonder, was that really necessary? I'm not saying that, he had the smacking and the assault coming. He didn't. He has the right to do that. But just because you have the right to do something doesn't necessarily mean that you should do it, right? Those are two different things. They were leaving the premises. They were smoking weed, which they shouldn't have been doing on his property, in front of his fucking doorstep. I have no idea why the fuck they're doing that. And, you can see Slim Jim here just recording them, and, that's obviously going to agitate someone. That's obviously going to annoy someone. But, it does bring up an interesting question, is it really worth it? Is it really worth, provoking someone like this? Especially when it's not a government official, it's not a cop, it's just some idiot, some pothead that's smoking weed on your front doorstep. You just primarily want to get rid of them. Now she's getting up all in his face, You know, and oh man, she is so fucking ugly. I don't know why she got that tattoo behind her ear. It does not in any way improve her appearance. And I think that dude over to the right is her brother. And actually, he's kind of the calm one in this situation. He's trying to de-escalate the situation, you know, diffuse the situation, trying to calm that bitch of a sister down. And I don't know, like, I don't know what the fuck they're doing. You know, it's like, they're just acting like such ghetto motherfuckers. And one of the things that your boy SlimJim was trying to say is like, you know, like all potheads, like, are like this, you know, and it's just so unfair, you know, like, not all potheads are like this. Not all potheads are potheads. People can consume cannabis without being complete assholes. You know, they should have never been consuming marijuana in outside. You know, like if you're gonna do that, you do it in your fucking home. You know, and I believe Slim Jim lives in Florida, so you know, recreational use of cannabis is still illegal there. So, you know, if you have any brains, what the fuck are you doing smoking a blunt in public, outdoors, on someone else's doorstep? Is one of the dumbest motherfucking things that you could ever do. So, yeah, obviously these guys are wrong. No one's saying that they're right. My contention is, if you were in that situation, would you follow them out? You know, you saw the beginning of the video, and you can see the camera's going all over the place because she's assaulting, and you can see a better angle here. She's getting right up in his face, you know, and she's mouthing off to him, and then she's trying to grab the camera away, and then, you know, she grabs him by the neck. That's assault, okay? Slim Jim is a victim, and he's just backing off. He's not attacking her because, you know, the fact of the matter is, at this point, he's actually justified in defending himself, but with with her brother there, that's not a good idea, you know, to throw a swing at the bitch, because then he's gonna start throwing swings. Even though Slim Jim would be in the right, he's gonna get in trouble. So he intelligently does not respond to that physically, but unintelligently he's instigating the situation, or I should say, you know, perpetuating it. You know, they were walking off, and he followed them out. That's my contention. Should he have done that? You know, you gotta play things by ear. Just because you have a right to do something, just because you have a right, you know, you can see them walking off finally. And, you know, just because you have a right to do something doesn't mean that you should do it, right? You know, what did he accomplish with this? Now, at this point, he calls the police. You know, and one of his biggest gripes with this whole entire situation is that the police arrived 30 minutes later. You know, and you kind of gotta wonder, like, is that unreasonable? Is that appropriate? I mean, it wasn't an emergency situation, right? I mean, it was a situation. It was an incident. And the police arrived 30 minutes after the fact. Well, you know, it depends on what they were doing. Like, were they too busy eating donuts at Dunkin' Donuts, or were they busy responding to actual emergencies? If the latter is the case, then I don't find a big deal about them arriving 30 minutes after the fact. But Slim Jim, or I should say, your boy Slim Jim, had a really big problem with that. And that's what really turned him off. That's why he actually didn't press charges. You know, he's talking to the cop, he's explaining to them what happened. And that guy that's coming into the camera right now, that's actually the father of these two potheads. You know, like, it's like, you know, they look so old. Like, they look like they should be living on their own by now, but they're still living with, you know, this old guy, and they're smoking weed on some other guy's doorstep. You know, it is kind of fucked up. But apparently your boy Slim Jim was really turned off to the fact that, you know, the cop arrived 30 minutes after the fact, and therefore he didn't press charges. Also, like, the father apologized, tried to defuse the situation. My contention, like I said, is that there didn't need to be an incident. You can easily just politely tell those potheads, hey guys, this is my house, I live here, you're sitting on my doorstep, can you please vacate the premises? And that would have been it. That would have been it. Like, he didn't need to perpetuate the situation and escalate it, and then my thing is, what did you accomplish? You know, it's one thing if you are videotaping a cop who's engaging in criminality. You have every right to videotape them because there's a point to it. You are exposing criminality in the police force. What are you doing with this? You're exposing potheads to be acting like assholes? You're exposing human beings to respond in a human being kind of way? Like, yes, you have a right to videotape them, but the natural reaction is you're gonna be annoyed when someone's videotaping you. That's exactly why cops always abuse their authority when someone's videotaping them, because they don't like it. But videotaping, like, civilians acting up because you're videotaping them, like, it doesn't feel like, it's not their job necessarily to control themselves. They're just gonna react the same way any other human being is gonna react. So that's my thing. I don't really see why it was necessary for him to follow them out. And you guys saw right from the beginning, he followed those potheads out and he video recorded them when he could have just politely asked them, guys, vacate the premises. This is my property. I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't come here again. And then they would have left, even if the bitch probably cussed them out when she was leaving. Sometimes you just gotta let things, like, go. It's not worth it. Was it worth it to get slapped in the face and to have your cell phone thrown on the ground? I'm sure there was, like, at least scratches on the cell phone. Was that really worth it? And he didn't even press charges in the end. So therefore, just because you have a right to do something, the moral of the story, guys, is just because you have a right to do something doesn't mean that you should necessarily do it. That's why, whenever I'm talking about, okay, you have a right to have a religion. That doesn't mean you should be a Christian. That's what SlimJim, your boy SlimJim, tried to refute in my first video. Like, I was asking, why are you a Christian, SlimJim? He's like, because your boy SlimJim has a right to be a Christian. I don't care what your rights are. Okay? What your rights are have nothing to do with what you should do. You have a right to have a divorce. That doesn't mean you should get a divorce. You have a right to have an abortion. That doesn't mean you should have an abortion. You have a right to record potheads that are smoking weed on your doorstep. That doesn't necessarily mean that you should. This is what I call the lightning philosophy. Take the path of least resistance when it is in your best interest. Just fly low, fly under the radar, fly low key, It's not worth it. It's not worth to, get into these big ass incidents which accomplish absolutely nothing. And, generalizing all weed smokers as pothead assholes, using these motherfuckers to generalize everyone is not conducive either. Okay? That's all I gotta say. This is EnigmaHood signing off. Oh, and also, before I do that, check out SlimJim, because I do like this guy. And I do believe that he is a victim. He is a victim in this. Check out his channel, because he makes some pretty good videos, and, I do like him. Alright? That's it. EnigmaHood signing off.